You're struggling with speed on the SAT, this video is for you. Your limiting factor might be your speed and not your accuracy, and you might be ignoring it, right? High accuracy comes from higher speed, but also higher speed can affect your accuracy and make it a lot better. So the both are related. So how do we target speed, and how can you also target your accuracy to improve your speed to see real improvements as fast as possible? So hi, I'm Karthik. This is how to improve your speed on the SAT. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first section, reading, right? It's like extremely hard to improve very quickly on reading, right? But it is possible. And the reason why I say it's possible is improving your actual speed in terms of like how fast you're able to run through every question and get it right as you would like take longer. It's actually pretty much impossible to improve on that, right? But it's possible to improve your accuracy on certain kinds of questions that you're going to see an improvement almost instantly. So over a long period of time, improving your speed while reading is very possible, and it's just a matter of if you're able to practice full length exams and do a bunch of volume so you can improve your speed, right? It's basically like running. You don't get faster at running by not doing much of it. You have to practice it daily and you see small improvements daily. That's pretty much how improving your speed on the overall section is going to be. It's just a matter of taking long exams, right? Sitting through them and trying to get through them as fast as possible. I recommend first starting out with the stopwatch. And then once you finally get to the stage where you're under the time, right, after doing lots and lots of practice with the stopwatch, then put the timer on and then start using the timer. And then you've pretty much set, once you're under the timer amount, then you don't have to really worry about speed overall. It should be like your accuracy on certain questions. And like I said before, the most effective way to improve your speed, the fastest, would probably be with certain question type accuracy. So I'm going to get into that right now. And it matters about mastery, right? Mastery is where you master a certain type of question and you get it right almost all the time, right? And it doesn't have to be all the time, but it's just like generally 90%, right? And what you're going to do is master that kind of question. You're going to practice it a bunch, learn the ins and outs of different kinds of those questions, repeat it again on resources like the SAT Suite Question Bank, and then effectively you're going to lower your time for that question every single time you practice it. Additionally, it's just going to make you faster on that one type of question, right? And the reason why I say that is mastering one specific kind of question is going to be way faster and way easier to do than mastering all of them at once, which is what you effectively do by taking every single question and doing long length practice tests, right? So one thing that you can also do is organize your level of difficulty, right? Do easier problems that you feel are easier, cut long passages or hard passages out and put them last, so that effectively increases your accuracy, right? And your mastery of those certain passages and avoids the hardest portion, which is all the questions are generally the same in terms of curve. I mean, they are the same in terms of curve, so you don't have to worry about it. But mainly it's focusing on one type of question and mastering it within like a week or so, like doing it constantly so you get really good at it. That's going to get you a significant improvement in speed, right? Okay, for grammar, right? Generally, the same rules are going to apply in terms of increasing your speed over a long period of time. It's the familiarity that you get from doing the questions, right? That comes with practicing the types of questions and getting really familiar with the format. That's going to substantially increase your speed, only if that's your true limitation. A lot of the times, I find that people's true limitation on grammar is actually with their concepts. Is that when they're reading it, right, they go through the passage and they go through this certain question and they find that actually they're not focusing on the right thing, right? They find that when they're trying to answer the question, they figure out, okay, which one sounds the most accurate, which one sounds correct, right? And that's so wrong, right? Using your ear and leaving things to opinion is why people make mistakes in the grammar section in the first place and lose time. But you still can get the right answer by doing that, and a lot of people do. But the issue is that you waste time doing that. If you fully understood every concept, you can actually instantly figure out if it's right or wrong. So I'll explain exactly how you learn every single concept, right? First, what you're going to do is you're going to take a practice test and figure out exactly what you do and don't know on specifically for SAT grammar. So you're going to figure out the ones that you can't point out the specific skill to. Like, do you know if that's independent or dependent? Do you know if commas actually belong there? Do you know what a supplemental clause is? Do you know if all the grammar rules are actually correct, right? And you're going to use Khan Academy and go through all the grammar rules and figure out which ones you do know and which ones you don't know, right? And it's going to be clear, as I said before, because you don't know the explicit rule. Let me say that again. You don't know it if you don't know the explicit rule. So if you can't exactly mention what is going on here, then you don't know why it's correct, right? You're going to learn all of it, and all the explicit rules you're just going to have memorized, right? And the way you do that is you first use online resources, right? You're going to find anything on Khan Academy, or you can look up on Google. But basically, you're going to learn that rule, and then you're going to memorize the rule. You're going to take a lot of time to actually practice it and memorize it. And like a concept of a thing that's tested on the SAT, but it's not exactly grammatical, is like redundancy and reduction, right? The SAT loves to put redundancy in there and wants you to eliminate it. Like they hate repeating words, even if the repeating words aren't that bad and actually make sense and are grammatically correct. They still don't like it. So that's a concept that's not grammatical, but it's an explicit rule of the SAT that you need to learn. Okay, so practice using this memorized rule. Do practice, like when you encounter a question now, I want you, like as soon as you see a comma, you want to figure out, is that comma correct? What is its purpose? Do I know the exact purpose? Okay, I know the exact purpose because I know the exact rule the comma is being used here. Like identify and directly implement, right? This is the framework that you're going to use. You're going to recognize the skill, you're going to implement it, so see if it's actually correct, and then choose it if it's correct, or eliminate it if it's wrong, right? So recognize, implement, and choose. That's the framework that I want you to use grammar on like all the time. And this is one of the most effective networks that I've been able to find out, right? This is going to significantly improve your speed, right? If you're going to use this framework, use it at like in grammar, right? It's just so dependent on speed, right? Because this strategy is what's effectively going to get you a better like score, right? Because we care about speed because we care about accuracy. So we're targeting accuracy and speed with this. Okay, with math, a portion of like this section is actually extremely similar, right? The same concept of you get familiar through practicing, and that's going to make you faster, right? But another method, and I think the one that a lot of people get stuck on, is they're using a slow method to solve, and they don't actually know a fast method, right? Are you able to identify the shortcuts in the problem? Do you have a high level of mastery for it? Do you know if plugging it in is actually easier than solving for it or faster for you? And that's very dependent and based on your strengths and your skills, and you don't specifically know that, right? Do you struggle with any of the concepts or any concepts unfamiliar to you? In that case, what you actually need to be focusing on is learning, right? Because improving your math speed is just a matter of familiarity through practice. It's the running analogy. Nothing gets you faster at running than running, right? So that's what you have to do to get faster in math. But if any of these things are targeting you, you can actually improve your math speed instantly by applying them, right? So first of all, learn all the fundamental concepts. There's a series of fundamental concepts you have to know to be able to answer every single SAT math question. It's just a matter of have you learned them or not, right? And how you figure that out is basically you go on Khan Academy and you watch all the videos for every math skill and see if you just fully understand it, or if you just see the title, is that something that you fully mastered and can get mastery on the practice questions that they give you. If that's true, then you don't need to worry about it. If it's not, then you have to master them. You have to actually learn them so you can get good at them for the test, right? And that's only half of it, right? The other half is actually shortcuts. You need to be able to find shortcuts for all the questions. Almost all the questions have a long and a fast way, and you need to be able to figure out the fast way. And the only way is if your mastery is high enough so you can find them through your own detailed analysis of the problem, or someone else is going to be able to help you who already has that experience and it can teach it to you, right? Obviously, the first one is extremely difficult to do, and the second one is more realistic for a small time frame. So if you can find someone like that, like a teacher or pretty much anyone who's experienced about the SAT, you should go towards them, right? Improve your speed with understanding. Because all the fundamental concepts are there and that's the only thing that's going to be tested, if you just learn them, you become instantly faster and more accurate. If you can find shortcuts through an extreme level of mastery of those concepts, you become instantly faster, and that just gives you more time to do everything else, which is going to also increase your accuracy. Okay, here's some speed tips that are going to apply to almost everything in the SAT. Obviously, process of elimination, right? Use process of elimination. There's nothing else. And use an effective form of process of elimination where you use the information you actually already understand and eliminate the answer choices that you know it couldn't possibly be, right? Skip hard questions. I've already talked about this, but just skip hard questions, skip hard passages, skip things that you don't fully know or you don't understand. And this is one of my favorite tips is rounded pencil tips, right? If you're using, you have to use the number 2 pencil. So like take the number 2 pencil that you buy, right? It might come pre-sharpened, and rub it on a piece of paper so that the tip of it is rounded so that you can literally bubble it by just like doing like it's so much easier to bubble it when you have a rounded pencil tip than when you have a sharp one. A sharp one actually takes way more effort. A round one that's more thick is so much easier to bubble with, right? and create a personalized strategy for bubbling your answers, when you're going to read the answer choices versus the question itself, what you read first, what you do. Make it personal to you. I wouldn't change it if your SAT is coming up. Just do the things that you've been doing, right? If you're interested in SAT prep and you also want some resources like a bunch of official QAS tests with the answer key and with explanations on them, you might be interested in my SAT private community, which you should join because I only have a limited amount of spots left before the price goes up, so I can keep the community small. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you learned something today.